Yo, what's up GameLeapers? Coach Cheese back at it. That's Eggs, not cheese. And in this video, you are going to learn about 10 underrated champions that would be great to one trick in Season 11. Now, I'm sure you're all kind of tired of hearing the names Yasuo, Jhin, Kai'Sa, so I decided to do a bit of research and dig up some others who are just as good as those really popular picks and are rarely banned if ever. Now, I want to know what champions you guys have been playing this pre-season and are thinking about playing in Season 11, especially if it's one of those rare picks that isn't really talked about. You know, it might be Aurelion Sol support or something, or nah mid, I don't know. Whatever it is, let me know down below. You know the drill by now, guys. Gameleapcom. If you want exclusive access to the best challenger courses, guides, and videos going around, then click on the links in the description and comment section. Thousands are already signed up, so join the party. Alright guys, let's get into it. Starting the countdown off, we have Lux. Now if you're someone who likes poking your opponents and controlling the game at range, then Lux is a great pick for mid lane and as a support. She currently has a 50% win rate, which means you can easily win games on her, and is only banned in 1 out of 20 games, so you should have no problem picking her unless you get unlucky. Now there are 2 new additions in the item department that really make Lux a beast of an artillery mage: Luden's Tempest and Horizon Focus. Now I'm sure you have all seen the new Luden's by now, but just a quick outline: it gives AP mana magic penetration, which is important, and ability haste. Now it gets better as well because you also get more magic pen from Luden's mythic passive, which grants each legendary item you have 5 magic pen, meaning at full build you will have an extra 20 MP, which is just, oh guys, it's unreal on Lux. Now another benefit is the movement speed you get when you damage an enemy champion with an ability. So why do you think this is useful on a mage like Lux? Because you're immobile, yes, and it gives you more kite and peel. So onto Horizon Focus. Now this item isn't built that much, so for 3000 gold you get 100 AP, which is nice, but you're really buying this for the passive focus fire. So if you land your Q, E or R, you proc this effect, which can lead to more one-shots and kills of course. Now keep in mind that the damage won't come about if you're in melee range, so keep your distance. The rest of your build depends on the game you're in. Well, Sorcerer's Shoes are another core item, but yeah, you can then buy Zhonya's if you're against a heavy dive team. You can build a Death Cap if you want even more damage and there's no real threat to you. You could buy a Void Staff if the enemy team is already stacking magic resist. It all depends on that game state. Guys, Lux is a great pick at the moment, so definitely consider playing her in the future. Okay, so the 9th champion you should think about maining is Ashe. And even though she's popular, she isn't as glaringly OP as her counterparts, and like Lux is only banned in 1 out of 20 games, so you can fly under the radar. Now if you're an ADC or support, there's one build in particular that has drawn a lot of attention, and for good reason. It works. So the key to it all is starting Tear of the Goddess and building this into a Manamune. It sounds whack, but it allows you to use your abilities more liberally without worrying about running and the ability haste is also great, meaning you can throw out these abilities more often. This is obviously great for trading and poking in lane. Now your mythic with this build is the real spanner in the works, and that's Imperial Mandate. It might subject you to play more of a utility role in your team, but this is great because you have a ton of it, and you enhance your teammates' damage from your slows and ultimate. Now Ravenous Hydra is your next buy, which again sounds pretty out there, but the 20 ability haste increases your utility, and its cleave passive procs on each arrow from your volley. You will be throwing a number of these out in teamfights because of all the cooldown, so it's all positive. Now I will say this though guys, because I care about all of you of course, apart from those of you who dislike the videos because of no timestamps, you know, even though you really did enjoy it, Manamune is getting nerfed pretty hard in 11.1, so it's going to cost more, and the shock damage from its evolution Mirror Mana is almost halved, so you're going to need a backup plan, and that is the Gale Force crit build. So you build a Gale Force as your mythic of course, then Runar's Hurricane, and then Infinity Edge. Now in high elo this setup has almost a 75% win rate, so it's quite simple game leapers. Build it. Gale Force allows you to really make use of your CC and gives you an escape or dodge if you need it. Runar's has always been a great item on Ashe and is only costing 2500 gold in 11.1, and Infinity Edge gives you that massive 3-item spike you need because of its passive. So if you think of Samira, Jhin, Lucian, Vayne, all of these have higher ban rates than Ashe and are arguably less effective, so pick her up. Coming in at number 8 guys, it's a similar one to Lux, and it's Seraph, an artillery mage that can dominate in the same fashion, so from range, from mid and support, and with the same build. So Luden's Tempest into Horizon Focus. Now because you don't have any feet, the mobility is a necessity, and the Horizon Focus passive is easy to proc because all of your abilities are skill shots that have at least 750 range. I mean your ultimate's range is 5000, so no problem there. Now one of the big issues Seraph has in this meta is surviving, which will always be your biggest weakness, right? You don't have any mobility and you're not building any health or resistance, so assassins and crowd control can really ruin your day. Now one of the keys to not letting this happen is to hold your E. Don't just throw it out because you feel like it, have a reason for throwing and an impetus behind using it. Without it you are toast. There's nothing you can then do to protect yourself against a Zed or a Katarina or a Kali, and that might be the reason you lose the game. Now one cheeky trick with your E is that you can combine this with flash, so if you think you can quickly kill someone with an E and Q, go for it, but it would also be useful to use this defensively. You might be getting chased or even in a 1v1, it creates space from the threats and gives you a bit more breathing room. Seraph has close to a 51% win rate overall, guys, so he's strong. And again, this is a trend it seems. He's banned in 1 out of 20 games, so really not at all. So start playing him. Alright, let's head into the jungle, the 7th pick on our countdown, Elise. Now, the Spider Queen has close to a 53% win rate in high elo, which is one of the highest, and is only banned in 1 out of 40 games. How good is that? Now, the reason for this sudden increase in winning is down to Rito coming in clutch in 10:25. So your repel now triggers the effects of your passive. What does this mean? Well, when you cast your E directly on an enemy and pogo stick on top of their head, your passive effects are juiced up by 40% to 100% depending on your points in E, and this is big news. Now, the build on Elise isn't the best just because AP assassin items have been nerfed a lot, but still you can dish out a lot of damage. Night Harvester, Zhonya's Hourglass, and Morella Nomicon. Now, some games you won't need Morellas, but there is so much healing in the game at the moment, it will work pretty much all the time. A fun fact, these 3 items with Sorcery Shoes have a 100% win rate in high elo, and yes, you heard me correctly, 100%. You cannot lose. If that's not a sign that Elise is a champion you have to start playing, I don't know what is, guys. Okay, so number 6 on our list is Tristana, and I've mentioned that Tristana is one of the best ADCs in the game before, but she is still undervalued by a lot of you. Now, like Elise, she's banned in only 1 out of 40 games, unlike Jhin and Samira, etc., and she has one of the best win rates out of the marksman, if not the best. Now, the reason behind this is that you have the biggest 3-item spike arguably on the Rift, because once you get to this point of power, you will have the highest basic attack range in the game, and nothing can stop you. So you start with a Kraken Slayer, you can go Gale Force as well, then Stormrazor, and then Infinity Edge. With this trio, you have all the damage and attack speed you need, and most importantly, you have 60% crit so you can make use of Infinity Edge's passive, and you do this easier than anyone, again because of your range. You also have an aggressive playstyle because of your rocket jump, which you kind of need in this meta to really hard carry and compete with everyone else, so pick up Triss, guys, she's great. The top 5 GameLeapers, you better be engaged, because here we go. Riven is number 5, and the reason she's on this list is because once you put in the time and effort, I tell you what, easily one of the most underrated champions in League. Now, I know Camille, Fiora, Darius may be performing better based on win rate, but Riven can thrive more than any of them when mastered. In fact, listen to this, because I know some of you are sitting there going, but I dumpster Riven in my silver games, Coach Cheese, haha. Bro, the best Rivens in the world have an 86% win rate when they build these 3 items: Ravenous Hydra, Gore Drinker, and Black Cleaver. Now, one tip you guys who are going to play Riven and do play Riven at the moment is to use your auto attacks. I cannot stress that enough. It's important generally, you know, no matter what champion you're playing, but especially on Riven because of your passive. If you just Q, W, and E to trade with your opponent, you are going to get dumpstered. Practice auto attacking between your abilities, and trust me guys, your results will improve heaps. Now, moving on to number 4, we have Viktor. Maybe the rudest head in League, but for sure one of the best mid laners, and that's even after the nerfs to Viktor himself and his core items. I mean, a 52.6% win rate across the board sounds pretty juicy, right? You're only banned in 1 out of 50 games now, so what's stopping you guys from going ham on this machine? Build Luden's Tempest, Lichbane and Azonya's Hourglass, or Banshee's Veil, depending on the team comp you're up against, and you win at least 70% of matches. Now, Luden's is great on Viktor for the same reasons we discussed earlier for Lux and Seraph. Lichbane has always been a core item and is still amazing because you can proc this with your discharge, and Zhonya's and Banshees give you ability haste and a bit of protection against champions that want to take your head off. Guys, play Viktor, he is still an awesome mid laner. Alright, the top 3 underrated champions you have to main in the number 3 is Jace, and if you play mid or top, Jace is a great pick because he counters a lot of champions and is one of the strongest lane bullies in the game. Now, he's banned not even once in 100 games, and though most people will play other AD laners like Aurelia or Jax for top lane and Zed or Yasuo for mid lane, Jace is just as good, if not better. Now, in high elo, Jace has almost a 55% win rate as a mid laner, so if you can play him and master his combos, very few will be able to deal with you. Now, one of the keys to playing a great Jace is to make sure you combine your hammer and cannon to maximize your DPS. That's what you're about. But do be careful, because if you commit to that all in, there is no turning back. Build Eclipse, Manamune, and either a Ghostblade or Edge of Night depending on the enemy team, and you will acceleration gate yourself to high reloads. Do you guys get that? Hopefully. Now, the second most underrated champion, guys, is Bard. Everyone seems obsessed with Nami, Janna, Sona, and Bard may be harder to play, but you can carry harder with him. Now, Imperial Mandate, as I'm sure you're aware, procs off your meeps, which is great, but there's one item and effect that takes your power to another level, and that's Dead Man's Plate. It gives you 5% bonus movement speed, and you can increase that further via the Momentum passive, making you one of the best roamers in the game, while also making it easier to auto-attack with your meeks to proc your Mandate. Build a Redemption after, and listen to this. In 30 games games in Master and above the last 2 days with these 3 items, you win every single game. 100% W's. You're rarely ever banned, so get barred in that champion pool of yours, guys. Okay, now before we get into the most underrated champion leading up to Season 11, here it comes, GameLeap.com. So if you want to know how someone like Faker crushes mid, or if you want to learn exactly what the best ADCs do in the world that you don't, and 100 other topics, we've got you covered. Join thousands of others and treat yourself, because there is $50 off our lifetime memberships too. Links down below as always. Now, if you're unfamiliar with our countdown videos, I like to throw out some clues for this last champion to see if you guys can guess who it is. So the number 1, here we go. Lots of people think I'm a he, but I'm actually a she. Since the 1025B patch, my win rate has gone up almost 4%, and that's without any direct buffs. I'm a massive counter to assassins because I can knock them up. My first 2 items are Prowler's Claw and Edge of Night, and I'm a jungler. Guys, Rek'Sai is the most underrated champion in the game right now. If you got that, well done, pat on the back. Not having to spend gold on evolving your jungle item means you can spend this on an early Dirk, and honestly, with this lethality rush, you are the best snowballing jungler in League legit. You get 2 kills early on, it's as good as over. Now, these champions may not be the most popular, but they are just as good as the ones you've been hearing about for the last few patches, and the thing is, guys, you can actually pick them in pretty much every game. As always, thanks so much for watching. This has been Coach Cheese. Peace.